Hello, I am Bob Rourke, National Sales and Marketing Manager for Precision Roll Grinders. Welcome to our webinar today on understanding the new ANSI standards and compliance expectations. First, since there are so many of you listening and watching this webinar today, we're going to mute all the phones and ask that you use the WebEx chat option to submit your questions. We will endeavor to answer all your questions at the end of the program, and we will unmute the phones at that time as well. Accompanying me today is Rich Repp, our Triple Ink Mill Division Manager. Rich will review the standards and compliance in just a few minutes. PRG has been servicing ink mills, ink rolls, and ink customers for over 35 years. Our facilities are equipped with state-of-the-art equipment, the knowledge which allows PRG to maintain the tightest grind tolerances for our customers. We have the parts and can service all makes and models of triple roll mills. Finally, we have dedicated specialists for ink mill rebuilds and upgrades. Now I'd like to hand this presentation over to Rich. Go ahead, Rich.
Hello, I'm Rich Repp, and today I'd like to discuss and cover the following. Who is ANSI? What is the ANSI 2007 as it pertains to your three-roll mill requirements? Employer responsibility and employee training. I will also talk about how PRG can assist in meeting your company's safety goals. And finally, we will have a questions and answers segment. Who is ANSI? ANSI stands for the American National Institute and is a nonprofit that supports and facilitates standards for U.S. products, services, processes, and systems. The current standard for three-roll mills is actually a revision of the 1997 standard and was developed with the input of NAPM, or the National Association of Printing Ink Manufacturers. The standard states that it should be part of the Total Safety Program and that the implementation of this standard will promote safety. It urges management at all levels to promote the implementation of this standard. We will now look at what the standard requires. The first requirement I will point out is the type and location of emergency stops and control switches. The e-stops must be of a latching or maintained type. This means that once activated, the switch or control panel must be physically reset before the mill can be started. PRG recommends that e-stops and control switches be located on both the feed and the apron sides of the mill, but the standard is actually broken down into two types of mills based on the working face length of the rolls. Small mills with a roll face length under 19 inches only require one control station and one e-stop switch as long as the e-stop switch is easily accessible from both the feed and the apron sides of the mill. Large mills with a face length of 19 inches or greater still only require one control station, but require e-stops on both the feed and the apron side of the mill. And the feed side must also have a cable-type e-stop. Again, all e-stops must be of a latched or maintained type. A wash-up mode has been added in the newest standard. In the wash-up mode, the drive motor must have its RPMs limited to 10% of the maximum motor RPM speed. So if the full speed is achieved at 60 hertz, the wash-up must be set at 6 hertz or less. The wash-up mode must also include an interlock nip guard. This nip guard replaces the old wash-up stick. The standard also adds a braking requirement to the mills. When the e-stop is activated, the feed roll must stop its rotation within 1/3 revolution in wash-up mode and 1 revolution in grind mode. Both the braking and wash-up are achieved through the use of a variable frequency drive controller controlling the drive motor. The implementation of this standard falls on the shoulders of the companies who own and use the mills. The time frame for the implementation of this standard is based on the status of the equipment. Existing equipment should be in compliance now with respect to the switch type, switch location, and employee training. However, the wash-up and braking requirements are to be brought into compliance by January 2020. New or existing equipment that has been purchased and moved shall be in compliance prior to the mill being used, and the same goes for mills that are being rebuilt. Again, it is the owner and user of the mills that are responsible for making sure the mills meet the requirements. The employers are also responsible for employee training, which should be completed before using a mill for the first time, and refresher training should be offered from time to time. Walking surfaces should be kept clear and clean. Spills should be cleaned up immediately. Rags should be kept away from the mill and stored in approved containers. And most importantly, mill controls and e-stop should be kept clean and tested for operation. The time to find out that an e-stop may be stuck or malfunctioning should not be when it's needed the most to prevent an injury. Employee training should include some common sense issues along with some specific issues. Never reach across the rolls from the opposite side when the rolls are running. If using a scraper or a spatula, the length of that scraper must be at least 1/2 inch or 1/2 the diameter of the rolls that it is being used on. So if we have a 5-inch diameter roll, the spatula should be at least 2.5 inches long. This is to allow time to release the item if it is caught in the rolls or between the nip. Also, never try to retrieve an item that has fallen into the mill while it is running. Engage the e-stop before worrying about getting the item back. There are also specific procedures for cleaning the rolls in wash-up mode. These procedures are called out in more detail in the actual ANSI standard. These include stopping the mill with the e-stop prior to scraping down the side plates and residual product, running the remaining product out of the mill and re-engaging the e-stop. The roll should then be opened and the interlocked nip guard installed. The roll mill can now be safely run in wash-up mode. The roll should be cleaned, but always keep in mind the relationship of your fingertips in the direction of the rotation of the rolls. The standard has illustrations of the proper hand positions for each roll to be used during cleaning. Once the rolls are cleaned, stop the mill and activate the e-stop. Now the apron can be washed down, but never clean the apron if it has been released from the roll or the knife edge is exposed. When changing the knife, be sure that the e-stop is engaged. Release the blade from the roll, being careful not to come in contact with the exposed knife edge. Always wear cut-resistance gloves when working with the knife blade, and use pliers or vice grips to pull the blade from the apron. Be sure to dispose of the used blade in a safe manner, and continue by cleaning the blade slot on the apron. To install the blade, hold it by both edges with your gloved hands, making sure the sharpened edge is facing away from your hands, and install the blade into the slot of the apron. PRG offers complete 3-roll mill refurbishment along with roll grinds, gear cutting, side plate, and apron repairs. We also offer field service for repairs, roll swaps, and employee training for ANSI compliance. You can check out our website to see our latest inventory of refurbished mills we have for sale. Also on our website, you will find a link to our YouTube video and this webinar, both of which pertain to the ANSI standard. Now we will open the floor for questions and answers. Please use the chat feature to submit your questions. I will read them back and try to answer them as fully as possible. If anyone has questions, this is the time to go through the chat, and please. Oh, here we got a question in. Is my company legally obligated to implement this standard? The answer to this is no, but those who do not certainly implement this open themselves up 2, employee litigation should an accident happen and your company has not followed the most recent safety standards. Our next question comes in. What is the time frame required to upgrade a mill? Well, this depends on the size and make of the mill, along with if we're just doing an upgrade or also doing an overhaul. Next question coming in. What is the cost? Well, similar to the last question, this again depends on the size of the mill, along with your current electrical controls of the mill. If your current mill is already set up for a variable frequency drive or VFD drive, the cost would be reduced because we would not have to add a drive to add the wash-up and the braking features. Our next question, how does the training you offer work? Okay, well, with the training, what we do is we come out to your facility and present a full 3-roll mill seminar to your employees. Generally, the group is made up of both operators and maintenance personnel, and the charge is based on actual time for the class, travel, and expenses. Any more questions coming in? We're now in the process of removing the mute from everybody's line, so if there's any verbal questions, you may ask them at this point.
Very good. We want to thank you all for attending our webinar this afternoon, and if you need to reach Rich, you can contact him at richrep@precisionrollgrinders.com, or you can call him at 610-395-6966, extension 291. Good afternoon. Have a good day.